Well, hi, everybody. I'm Don Stewart, and welcome to our second edition of Breaking News for this Monday. It is the 16th day of June, 2025. And as always, we have some very important headlines that have come across the wire in the last few hours. And so let's get right to them. In a news conference today, Prime Minister Netanyahu did. He said Israel won't rule out killing Khamenei. It would end the conflict. Very interesting. Then he says, in the same news conference, this is by both these are from the Jerusalem Post. Let's make Iran great again. He urges dissidents to topple the regime. So they're talking about regime change. Iran cries uncle is our third headline. Wants to end Israeli attacks and negotiate with Trump. This is from Breitbart News. In fact, Trump just came out with a post on his Truth Social saying everybody ought to leave Tehran immediately because of what's going on there. It seems that they've got no air cover any longer in Tehran, and Israel can do what it wants. And so he said you should have negotiated and you didn't. Well, now they're trying to do it. It's a little late in the day. Israel destroys, you might have seen this, the IRGC state media television station live on air. This is from N12 News. And at the same time, U.S. is deploying more, they call it defensive capabilities to the Middle East, says Defense Minister Peter Hegseth. It's in the Times of Israel. Some 24 tankers are being set to sent to Europe, actually, to NATO, but they're going to find their way to the Middle East. So a lot of things are going on right now, and we'll see where all this ends. Now, in the meantime, we have a very urgent prayer request, and please, please pray for this. There were pictures sent today and some video of Iranian heroes who work for Israel. They work against the Iranian government. They have been caught, a number of them. They're tied up in the video. Over a dozen out of the less of the 40 operatives are taking or missing in action. They're not cowards. They didn't chicken out, but we're asked to pray for them because they're going to be made examples, unfortunately, before the Iranian people, and you know their fate that awaits them. They're patriots in Iran who have fought against the regime, who are helping Israel, but they've been caught. And there's a video of them tied up, and their fate is not going to be very good. But there's a number of others in this group that are still kind of on the loose, and just pray that God would protect them. Okay. All right, let's get the headlines. Number one, Netanyahu said Israel won't rule out killing Khamenei. It would end the conflict. This is from the Jerusalem Post. Prime Minister Netanyahu would rule out targeting Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei in an interview with ABC News. Look, we're doing what we need to do, says Netanyahu. I'm not going to get into details, but we've targeted their top nuclear scientists, said the Prime Minister. It's basically Hitler's nuclear team. It's not going to escalate the conflict. It's going to end the conflict, says Netanyahu about plans to take out the Iranian leader. Netanyahu indicates he does not take seriously Iranian messages that is looking to end the fighting and back to the nuclear talks. They want to continue to have these fake talks in which they lie, they cheat, they string the U.S. along, he says. And we have a very solid intel on that. Ask about the isolationist America First wing of Trump's coalition. We're not just fighting our enemy, we're fighting your enemy. For God's sake, they chant death to Israel, death to America. We're simply on their way, and this could reach America soon. In other words, they're right. Israel is the first stumbling block for Iran. They want to get to us here in America. But first and foremost, they have to get through Israel first. And this is exactly their long-term plan, their program, because of Shia Islam. That's who they are. Their worldview of how the world's going to end, it will be through, violence, and violence by destroying the little state in Israel, the big state in the United States. So this is why Netanyahu says the U.S. should get involved. And this America First idea and ignoring Iran is just bad. It's a threat to Israel, he continues. As I said, to our Arab neighbors, to Europe, to America, they chant death to America. It's though that's not your business. This is not myopia. This is utter blindness. He's exactly right. Since the morning, we find the IIF, the Israeli Air Force, has identified several trucks containing weapons, including trucks transporting surface-to-air missile launchers, advancing western Iran to Tehran while attempting to escape the IDF strike. So they're still trying to reload there in Tehran, but again, their air defenses are basically non-existent. They've only had two waves of missiles today with very few missiles being shot, even though for hours and hours we had this story. They're going to do this great blitz, the worst that you've seen, the biggest one Israel's ever faced, and it's coming. It's coming big at Israel, and basically nothing's happened. So we'll see what's going on. And so to begin with, the supreme leader, he says you get rid of him, it's all going to be over. So this is ABC News. It wasn't a press conference. Sorry about that. All right, let's go to headline number two. Let's make Iran, I like this. Let's make Iran great again. He urges dissidents to topple the regime. This is also from the Jerusalem Post. Prime Minister Netanyahu to Iran International. Cyrus freed the Jews. Now it's your turn to be free. A light has been lit. Carry it to freedom. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu told London-based Iran International that Israel's ongoing military operations against Iran provide an unprecedented opportunity for the Iranian people to overthrow their oppressive regime. In a rare interview with Iranian dissident media on Monday, Netanyahu expressed confidence that the Islamic Republic days are numbered, encouraging Iranians to seize the moment for freedom. A light has been lit. Carry it to freedom, he's told this Iran International's Puria Zerati. This is the time. Your hour of freedom is near. It's happening now, he declared. He framed the Israeli military campaign as both a defensive war and as a critical moment for Iranians to rise up against the regime that has long posed a threat to Israel and the region. He described the Islamic Republic as a regime built on the threat of nuclear and ballistic missile weapons aimed at Israel. Tehran signals immediate desire now for diplomacy through Arab intermediaries. We're going to talk about that next, as Israel campaign targets nuclear and military assets. Amid sustained Israeli strikes on Iranian military and nuclear targets, Tehran is reportedly expressing, get this, an urgent willingness to resume negotiations over its nuclear program, according to a report in the Wall Street Journal. We're going to get to that next. Now, this is a story that's been going around, and here it is. Now, let's think about this. This is only Monday, and we just started, what was it, Thursday, Friday? The battle's just going on for a few days, and Iran has been bellicose and bragging about all its power, all its ability, this and that, how they're going to destroy Israel. And where are we at? Well, today they've had two strikes, basically nothing coming over, no missiles hitting at all, hardly, at Israel. And we know they have more, but what's going on here? Now, Israel today has said they've destroyed 1/3 of the launchers that Iran has. And so basically, again, the whole idea behind all of this is what Netanyahu again told this group, the dissidents there, look, it's your time. Let's turn this around and make Iran great again, make it a great country. Now, what I've also heard today, this is interesting, that in Iran, in Tehran, and other places, there are parties going on. People are rejoicing, they're celebrating because they think the end of this regime is over. They have been in bondage since 1979 to these ayatollahs, to this religious, persecution that's there against anyone who doesn't toe the line with them. The people of Iran don't want to put up with it any longer. It reminds me a few years ago. There were protests there that very publicly against the regime, the Iranian regime, different places in Iran. And there was a reporter there, to his own peril, but he was reporting this and getting it back to the West. He was asked, well, you go to these places, which places are protesting against the regime? And he said a better question would be which places aren't protesting. Everybody is. They don't like this, but you've got the military, which is in power, the Ayatollahs, which are in power. It's not what the people want. We've mentioned this before. Iran's got the fastest growing church in the world, and so many people are coming to faith in Christ, and they don't want to be under this horrible regime of Iran any longer. So basically, what we're seeing is Netanyahu saying, look, you've got a chance now. You've got a chance and you will be supported, this time by the United States. Remember, a few years back, there were these protests that were there. The people went to the streets, and the U.S. under Obama did not help them out at all. Many people were killed protesting the regime. Now it's a little bit different. So we will wait and see what happens. All right, headline number three, basically piggybacking on this last story. Iran cries uncle wants to end Israeli attacks and negotiate with Trump. This is from Breitbart. Iran has sent messages to both Israel and the United States that it wants to end the war, negotiate with President Donald Trump, and could give up its nuclear enrichment program to save the Iranian regime. Now, what's interesting, when you read the stories, there was, again, the Wall Street Journal story and this story. When you get down and read further down, they're not going to give anything up. They don't want to they haven't changed their mind yet with respect to giving up their nuclear enrichment. They just want the war to end. So they're eager to end the fighting as the Israeli fighters attack regime institutions in the capital city of Tehran, including the state broadcaster, after achieving total dominance of Iranian airspace And again, the Wall Street Journal reported Iran has been urgently signaling that it seeks to end the hostilities and resumption of talks over its nuclear program, sending messages to the U.S. and Israel through via Arab intermediaries, Middle Eastern and European officials said. So, in the midst of this ferocious Israeli air campaign, that Iran, and remember, we've been talking about this for weeks and actually months. Iran said, "Bring it on! Just you're going to be, terribly destroyed if you do something like this. It'd be the worst mistake you ever made." And yet Israel brings it on. What's happening? Iran wants to cry uncle and quit right away. So the attacks will continue, Netanyahu said, until Iran's nuclear program and ballistic missiles are destroyed, and showed no indication whatsoever he's ready to stop. And so, again, Israel's unlikely to relent until it's destroyed most or all of Iran's ballistic missile launchers, continue to fire barrages. They continue to fire some barrages at Israeli citizens, and usually at night. It's nighttime there now. But the problem is, from Iran's perspective, they don't seem to have much to shoot. Today has just been pretty much empty. So we will keep an eye on this. If something big comes up, we'll let you know. But bottom line is, they want to quit. They already, after all these months and all the bragging and all the posturing, saying, if you attack us, it'll be the worst mistake you made. Just wait. We've got, powers and abilities you don't even know about. Well, we haven't seen them yet, so we'll see what takes place. All right, headline number 4. Israel destroys the IRGC state media television station live on air. This is from N12 News in Israel. The IDF has struck Iranian TV in the latest blow to the regime's sources of power. A host was even seen on live TV evacuating after the bombing. They struck this program today, Monday, as part of an effort to further weaken and destabilize the region. So their TV broadcasting and radio buildings were struck today. Video was posted, you might have seen, of a TV host. She had evacuated the building after it was hit. And so what Israel's doing, they're embarrassing Iran to show them that they're kind of helpless to respond to Israel's attacks. But again, Israel has had to attack because it was brought on by Iran. And what does Iran do? They continue. The attacks that they're making against Israel are not against strategic military positions, anything like that, against the civilian population. Keeping people up at night, sleep deprivation. They're attacking right now at night, here and there, and trying just to horrify the people. But again, the people are resilient there, and they know Israel is winning. And so this picture, it's of the state TV media television station blowing up while they're on the air, was something that's kind of punctuating what's taking place. And finally, this next one's very interesting. We know there are 12 tankers, like we said, on the way to, to Europe, but also to the Middle East. And Peter Hegseth now says the U.S. is deploying, get this, more defensive capabilities to the Middle East. He's ordered the deployment of additional defensive capabilities as the escalating conflict between Israel and Iran drives regional tensions higher. Hegseth did not disclose what military capabilities he sent to the region, but Reuters was the first to report earlier today a deployment of a large number of U.S. military refueling aircraft and the movement of an aircraft carrier to the Middle East. Protecting U.S. forces is our top priority. These deployments are intended to enhance our defensive posture in the region. He posted on social media platform X. Now, this is interesting. He's doing it ostensibly to protect the bases, which they should do. But Iran has not attacked any of the bases, wisely so. But U.S. may, take the lead, and U.S. is actually needed because of the bunker buster bombs that only we have in the U.S. that would take care of this Fordo facility. That's the one where it's way underground. Their nuclear material, what they have there, and it needs to be destroyed. But it's something, and only the U.S. has bombs that are capable of doing it. So maybe under the guise of protecting the people here in the area in the Middle East, the families of the service people, that the U.S. will enter in some way and do what needs to get done with respect to this nuclear facility. Again, so much going on. We will wait and see how it all turns out. We'll get back with you first thing tomorrow morning and let you know what's taking place. Big time things happening. And remember to pray for these wonderful people in Iran who've risked their lives, who are now many of them caught, to basically destroy the evil regime of the Ayatollah. And sadly, they're going to pay the price. So we want to pray for them and pray that God's protection will be on the ones that are still, in hiding. I'm Don Stewart. Thanks for watching again. Until next time, as always, may the Lord richly, richly bless.